Welcome to the first video about installing and configuring FastPass. This video will be focusing on configuring synchronization, installing the synchronization component, and installing the interceptor component on a domain controller. And finally, we'll also set up synchronization for an MSSQL server, trying to synchronize a password towards a database. First up will be installing the password sync component in FastPass. Jump into an administrative command line and change the directory into the second password sync server folder in FastPass. From there, you can execute the MSI package like this, and you can run the actual installer. There you'll need to point to your SQL server. By default, the component will install the database password sync and named password sync. You can change this, but however, you'll need to know that then you'll need to change the connector when you install the interceptor component. So please leave it default. You'll need the username and password for the SQL server, and that's about it. The installation of the synchronization component is done, and next up will be to create to install on the domain controller. So now we're on the domain controller, and here you'll go into the sixth folder, which holds the password sync interceptor component. Again, install it from an administrative command line like this and run the MSI package. There you'll need to go through the wizard and then specify the server name of the server that holds your SQL server. In this setup we have right here, that is the same name as the FastPass server itself, so that's what we'll give here. And that's it for the installation. It only needs the server name of the SQL server, as it will by default connect there and give the information needed and feed it into the database. It's a one-way initialization, so the connection is initialized from the domain controller to the SQL server. After installing, it's very important to reboot the domain controller, as FastPass will not be able to work. The interceptor will not intercept anything before the reboot has been done. Now back to the admin server, the FastPass server. We're connected to the administrative path. Here we'll set up now a connection to, like we would like to reset a password within a user in the SQL server. So this is the setup there. So this is just an example for how to reset a password in an actual MSSQL server. Here you'll need to state the database you want to reset the password in. You'll also need to load the FPC reset password SQL. That is, you'll need to load that stored procedure into a SQL server. So that was the connection. We'll enable the SQL server connection, and next up we'll create a synchronization profile. This is what tells FastPass that if an end user is a member of a specific group, then they can synchronize the password to these targets. We only have one target, of course, but if you had multiple targets, you could have multiple different groups that would synchronize to the different targets. Then you would set it up in multiple profiles. Here we only have one. All right, next up is a test. So now we'll go ahead and reset the password from within FastPass. This will actually create two different password requests, because when we actually reset the password within FastPass, we do a password reset and then a password change, and that's done to make sure that we live up to any password history or whatever password recommendations, not recommended password policies that is on the domain. Here the password is reset, and now we can go into the password sync requests and have a look if we can see if anything has turned up. And there you see the first one is cancelled, the next one is processed, and we can see at the right hand side that it created one password sync transaction. This is a transaction, and it succeeded to reset the password on the FP user 1 in the MSSQL server. That's it for now on how to install and manage synchronization. Keep out for more videos. If you're looking for selective password reset, have a look at the next video. Thank you for listening.